Virtua Fighter is back, or so it seems. The recent concept video and trailer for the upcoming entry has sparked excitement, curiosity, and let's be honest, a ton of questions. Whether you're a long-term fan of the series or just someone who's interested in the legacy of the iconic franchise, this video is for you. We're going to deep dive into this teaser to see what the future could be for Virtua Fighter and fighting games as a whole. Now, I'll say this up front, we're working with limited information here. The promotional materials and the concept footage leaves a lot to the imagination. By examining what we know to be relevant and comparing it to Virtua Fighter games from the past, we can piece together some potential new ideas of combat mechanics, environmental feature, and even have a few questions about frame data. More importantly, we can't pull much concrete information on what we've seen so far. The point of this video is not to make predictions, but just talk about what we do know, raise some interesting questions, speculations on what elements could mean for the game, and we'll be drawing from the past games in the series so we can make an educated guess on what might be coming. We're here to start a conversation and not confirm anything. So stick around, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future updates as we learn more about this exciting new chapter in Virtua Fighter history. Let's get started. The first questions I had was, will there be changes to the core combat system? Will Virtua Fighter be sticking to the old iconic attack, block, throw triangle, or are we going to see meter? Launchers, stagger, will they stay in the game? How does frame data work on offense and defense and in the neutral? Virtua Fighter has always been about precision and timing. We're going to talk about the new blocking system, or rather new blocking animations, if that makes sense, and how this might change frame data on offense, defense, and fighting in the neutral. How will the environment impact the gameplay? Runouts, stage transitions, effects, walls, you name it, the etceteras, and here and there. Runouts have always been a defining feature of Virtua Fighter, but could we see an introduction of stage transitions, environmental effects, or new ways for walls to impact the flow of the fight? How do walls work? What are walls going to do in this game? What are they going to do? Virtua Fighter's combat system has always stood out in the fighting game world for its simplicity and depth, built around its iconic attack, block, throw triangle. Unlike other fighting games, Virtua Fighter has never relied on a meter system for flashy supers or extending combos, and let's be honest, it's part of its charm. The meter system does not align itself with the series' philosophy of clean and strategic gameplay. Focus has always been on reading your opponent, perfect timing, and mastery of core mechanics.
Nice stuff on the high, ready. While standing kick punish, yeah.
And not on managing resources or executing cinematic attacks. Adding the meter would fundamentally change part of the game, and the series that values the core identity so highly.
Oh my goodness!
He probably has a sliver, right? He might have a sliver. Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Let's go!
Safe to say it won't be seen anytime soon. But what about launchers? These have always been a staple in Virtua Fighter, offering explosive movement in an otherwise grounded game. While it's highly likely that launchers will return, there are still an area of uncertainty. The trailer we've seen so far seems to emphasize more of a grounded approach, showcasing more tight mechanics and control movement. However, given that we did see airborne moves in the trailer, it is highly likely that launcher combos will still play a significant role in the game's combat. Until we see more gameplay, it's something that needs to be seen rather than something we can just speculate on. Stagger has been one of those mechanics that's been in Virtua Fighter since Virtua Fighter 3 through 5. Based on the recent trailer alone, we can't confirm if Stagger will return. However, given its presence in the past entries, it is likely that the mechanic will find its way into the mix. Whilst Stagger does offer some counterplay, it can feel frustrating if you don't know in advance which moves cause it or not. Having to rapidly input directions to recover can often feel one-sided, leaving the defender in a scramble whilst the attacker has full control.
See how it's green and then it turns red? In VF, your inputs don't count until that stick turns red, right? So you can start buffering it early, but as soon as that stick turns red, that's when it cares. See that? Watch my joystick command.
If Stagger does return, I hope it's implemented in a way that feels more intuitive and fair. ensuring players have a clean opportunities to respond rather than feeling blindsided, if that makes any sense. Just make it so that's slightly better than just swinging my stick around. Not to mention it can lead into pseudo-infinites, that's already annoying. The other interesting question is, will the evade button make a return? The evade button has always been seen as a redundant tool, with the sidestep mechanic providing the same effect. However, an evade button could make things easier for newcomers, helping them learn technical movement without being overwhelmed by complex inputs. Now, I understand that sidestepping is not considered to be too much of a complex input, but it can do some interesting stuff. Similar to how Street Fighter 6 modern controls give players more accessibility to learn the fundamental ideas, an evade button could simplify sidestepping whilst allowing players to focus on mastering on the core combat. Furthermore, even as an optional feature, the evade button could increase movement freedom. It would make an example like ducking to sidestep cancel feel more fluid and easy to perform, and would let people mess around with movement a little bit more creatively. It would make it more accessible for beginners whilst leaving advanced players the option to use it or not. This flexibility could attract a wider audience and ensure that more seasoned fighters have more movement options at their disposal, plus it gives them more freedom to express themselves. Movement has always been a core pillar in the Virtua Fighter series, whether it's been sidestep, dashing, sidestep into dashing, or just spacing in general. The way you move in the game plays a huge role in how you engage with your opponent, especially when blocking attack. We'll get to that later. Ultimately, movement in Virtua Fighter is more than just positioning. It's a way of expressing your playstyle and responding to your opponent. Whether we see new movement mechanics or adjustments to old ones, it is clear that this game will have a lot to offer players when it comes to their mobility. I'm really hoping that they do add an evade button, because even Dead or Alive 5 had an evade button. How does frame data work? Now this is going to get complex very quickly, because ultimately this is just speculation for the most part. Frame data has always been a cornerstone of the Virtua Fighter series, rewarding patience, timing, and in-depth knowledge of every move. But the introduction with a unique blocking animation for every attack could be heading into uncharted territory. These unique animations could give players more of a visual cue to read their opponent's timings, potentially making frame data easier to understand at a glance. However, it does raise a question about consistency. Will every blocking animation have the same recovering timing, or will it leave the defense in a state of disadvantage or advantage depending on what type of block was performed? More importantly, will these animations be clear to interact with, whether a move is plus or minus on blocked? Yes, we can see all these animations, but will they help with punishment, or will they actually hurt punishment? If an animation means one thing, will it mean the same thing across the board? Think block and sweep in Street Fighter 6. There's a unique animation to when you block sweep. So will that consistency be there if you block in Virtua Fighter? On offense, this might influence how players pressure their opponents, with a new visual understanding and opportunities or limitations of engagement depending on the blocking animation that's being triggered. On defense, it could make the act of blocking feel more dynamic and engaging, as the player will not need to always react to the move, but rather the unique animations and the possible advantages and disadvantages arisen from it. So what does this mean for punishment? If blocking animation impacts frame data, will it mean that certain moves are easier to punish or harder to punish? In the past, a typical block in Virtua Fighter will result in a predictable recovery time, with both players generally understanding the neutral state of the post block. Will the timing window for punishment change based around the animation of recovery, and will players have to adjust their strategies according to it? Also, will throws still play an integral part of the defensive options? Will throws be a reliable way to punish unsafe moves? And the flash animations will see blocking attacks hints a deeper level of interaction when blocking is no longer a simple meaning of stopped the attack. It could involve different states depending on the type of block or the attack being absorbed. This idea of dynamic blocking has not been entirely new. A game like Kensai and the Sacred Fist introduced a similar mechanic called the evade button. Not like Virtua Fighter 3's evade button, it was just the evade button. It was a replacement on blocking. In the game, evade allowed players to avoid attacks, but it came with a risk. Some moves, especially those with specific hitboxes, force the opponent to sidestep, jump, or leave them at an unpunishable disadvantage, depending on the timing and the attack. This created moments where the defender had to react quickly to avoid awkward or punishable state. Something like this could happen in Virtua Fighter 2 with dynamic blocking, if it isn't balanced carefully. Ultimately, dynamic blocking could have a major impact on frame data, making something that players will need to master to fully optimize their offense and defensive strategies. Whether this system enhances the gameplay or not, or creates unintended complexities, still is remained to be seen, but it's definitely a feature to watch closely. How does the environment impact gameplay? Virtua Fighter stages have always been more than just the backdrop of a battlefield. But in this new game, it looks to be that we might have more of a deeper integration of the environmental effects. Are runouts still the ultimate clutch mechanics?
Runouts are such a massive threat that people have drilled their game to not be in those positions. They've focused on training how to not be in that position. Do not put yourself in a position to be wrung out.
Or will we be seeing more stage transitions and destructible objects to create more of a dynamic shift mid-match? Runouts have always been a signature feature from Virtua Fighter series, adding layers of tension and excitement as players must manage their positioning on stage, as much as they're attacking. Given that the trailer for the new Virtua Fighter doesn't give us a clear answer, it is uncertain if this feature will return. That said, the presence of walls, object interactions, and other environmental effects can add plenty of other possibilities. Even if runouts don't return in the traditional sense, these new elements could offer a new way of controlling space and pressuring the opponent, providing their own unique environmental impact. For instance, walls have always played a key factor in combos, positioning, and movement restrictions, playing a key role in shaping strategies behind controlling the flow of a match. Additionally, we see Akira flying through a box in the trailer, which raises the question, will these environmental interactions lead to combo opportunities? It is possible that this could lead to more of an exciting cinematic layer to the game's combat system, giving players some more chances to extend combo or just deal more damage. This could introduce a dynamic, visually engaging element to matches, as well as add more of a layered strategy of using the environment to your advantage. For example, the box. Why did it need to break? Well, it did like half your health bar. The game does feel more like a street fight with seemingly massive stages, seeming more like a Dead or Alive stage than a traditional Virtua Fighter environment. Either way, the scale and design of the environments in theory should be absolutely stunning, if this concept trailer is to be believed. The blend of environment effects and grandiose stage adds an exciting dimension to the game, and it's safe to say that the environment will play an important factor in how players will strategize and compete. Whether or not runouts make a comeback, it is clear environments will continue to play an important role in how players approach the game and strategies. Apparently we're done. Well, that's been a long one. Thank you for sticking with me through this deep dive of Virtua Fighter's potential future. Let me know your thoughts and questions in the comments below. What excites you the most and what you're hoping to see? Don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more discussions. I generally just want to try to do something new. Feel free to follow on Twitch if I ever can be bothered to stream again. Until next time, keep practicing, stay sharp, and I'll catch you on the next one. Yeah, matte ne yo.